Hello and welcome back, Box1 here, and today we're going to be looking at both of these sets. This is set 75312 and 75433. One from 2021, one from 2025, and we're going to be comparing them because they're quite similar. We will start by looking at the figures and comparing them, and then we'll look at the builds. We'll look at all these things and more, and at the end I will give my opinion on what is the better of the two. Starting with this set, let's look at the figures. Boba Fett here is pretty interesting. He's pretty simple figure, but he is pretty detailed. He has very nice black actual pieces, as well as some gunmetal gray for his legs, and some very nice printing on him. I actually think it looks quite nice, that color scheme, and I definitely didn't knock that off just now. Under his helmet, you have his scarred face, which looks pretty good. And he also does have some scar printing on his back, and this nice sand green jetpack. He also does come with this very nice two-piece elongated blaster. I think he's a pretty good figure, and I think he's pretty accurate to the show. So, let's get on to the next figure in the set. The Mandalorian, obviously from the show, the Mandalorian, is, well, he's a Mandalorian. He wears full Beskar armor with this dark brown actual pieces printed on, and he looks pretty good. He has a spear, and he does come with a very nice cloth cape. He has some printing under the cape, and he comes with a simple black head. This is before they added his actual face. He also does come with a small pistol, and is a pretty cool figure. I don't really have many complaints with him. They have released, since this set, some better helmet molds, or not molds, but prints for him. But this one doesn't look too bad. With those figures out of the way, we can now get on to our second set and look at their figures. The first figure in the set is Jango Fett, and he has some very nice sand blue arms and legs and a gunmetal gray torso. He also does have a very nice shiny helmet, and I think that helmet looks very good. So do I think the rest of his printing looks good. He has a gunmetal gray jetpack, and he doesn't have arm printing, which is something you'll see in the UCS version of him, which honestly should have been in this set. His face underneath here has, well, a couple scars, but that's because he does have a couple scars in the show, and it doesn't have his balaclava or his mouthpiece, or like a radio thing on him, which is kind of an interesting choice by LEGO, but not horrible. I do think he looks still pretty good. And he also comes with this very nice hairpiece, which is pretty cool. The next figure in the set, and maybe the best, is Lama Su, a very interesting looking one. He is a Kaminoan, and he has these nice spines on him, especially molded head that's exclusive to the set, and some very nice printing. He has some back printing with some nice lavender on him, and some frontal printing, which looks very good and does give his shape quite well. The final figure in the set is where this set does lose a lot of its points for the figure category. It is young Boba Fett, and he has a very interesting new hairpiece that many people don't like. I am kind of one of those people. I don't really think it looks very good on him. He also has this interesting, very, very large belt, which is also an interesting choice. And I don't think he looks the best. I like his face print, and I like his back printing, besides the belt. But that's about it. There's not much to say about this one that's too great. But even with those issues, I still think the newer set does have the better figure lineup. Just being almost completely exclusive, I guess you could say. The young Boba Fett's not in another set. This guy's exclusive because of his lack of arm printing. But we'll not count him as exclusive just because of this guy's exclusivity. That's the main reason that I'd call this a better set. I mean, you also do get Jango Fett and young Boba Fett, which even if this guy isn't very good, it's still great to get this guy. But that's not to say this is a bad set, the other one. It has some pretty good figures. I don't have too much bad things to say about these guys. I mean, maybe his helmet needs, if it had that updated helmet print, it would be better. But they're not too bad either. It's pretty even, I'd say. In terms of figure quality, however, I would say that the old one does have better figure quality. I mean, both figures have arm printing. Both look really good. This one, I'd say two of the figures look really good. And then the one, he just exists. Still, I think I'm going to give it to the new one because of that Kaminoan. Now that we looked at the figures, we can look at the sets, and I guess we can start with the smallest part of it, the little display stands, or carts. And just looking at them straight off the bat, there's not too... neither of them is too bad. I like this one. It's very simple, though. It's not... doesn't have any color, really. It has a little bit of white accents, but that's about it. It's pretty simple. It lifts up, and it does have a pretty cool looking thing. This is just a ladder. That's the one thing I'll say about that. But both of them lift up. This one is actually held in place in the back. This one is unsupported, so it does give a little bit more wiggle room. This can sit one figure in the front. This can sit one figure in the front. This one's a bit more of a comfortable fit than this one. This one you're cramped up against the back. But yeah, this also has some red details, some interesting shaping. This one's pretty flat. And from the front, I would say this one's pretty bit more interesting. But yeah, neither one of them is bad. I don't think either one of them is bad. In terms of functionality, functionality, words. This one is better. Definitely. I mean, 100%. But in terms of looks, I'd say this one. And that's why I'd say they're pretty equal in my ratings. I don't think either one of them is bad in a certain right or good in a certain right. I think they're both pretty mediocre, but still pretty nice. Now that we have looked at those, and there is no really real clear winner there, we can look at the big main focuses, the actual ships. And whether you call it Slave 1 or Starship, they're both really good. Starting with the older one, we can see the nose looks very nice. I think the shaping is great on that. It also has these two guns that can move, which is something you won't see on the new one. That's going to be one of my gripes with it. It does have these stickers, two stickers on it, on the nose, and then one here, two here, and then two here. So this definitely has more stickers on it if that's an issue. It has these stud shooters on the front, which do not look great, but they exist. And the actual bay, where you would actually walk into the ship, opens up pretty well to reveal a carbonite, I believe, Gamorrean, was it? If I'm remembering that right. Yes, it is a Gamorrean guard. Other than that, you can see just a pretty simple entryway, and then some Technic exposed in the back. On the sides, you get these very small little wings, which are also present on the big one, obviously. They're a main staple of the ship. They have some nice, like, copper color, or, like, dark orange under there for that, and I think that's a very cool inclusion. It didn't need to be dark orange, but I think it looks great in that. Kind of gives it the more rundown look, which is kind of what the ship is. But it looks pretty cool. On the sides, or on the back, I guess, or the head of the ship, I guess you could call it, it has some small sticker detailing, and the other side is basically the same, just mirror image. On the old one, it has these very interesting rounded sides here with these nice rounded pieces. These are another piece you'll see on the new one, but I'd say the new one does the rounding a bit better, and I'll show you what that means soon. The old one can also fit one figure either this way or this way, depending on how you want to display it, and that can just close up right on there. Very nice. It does, however, have a pretty big gap in the bottom there under the windshield. But we can move on from this one and get on to the newer model. On the new one, we can start at the front and see that it has replaced the old turnable guns with these fixed stud shooters. These cannot move, which they should be able to. That's how they are in the movies. It did, however, replace the stud shooters up here with these smaller blasters, which do look good. So it's kind of a net zero there. It does have one sticker here, which is horrible to put on, just like on the other set. They're horrible to put on, those stickers, but this one even more so. But this set only has 5 stickers. This one, these two, and then these two. The bay for this one simply opens, and you can see there are seismic charges in there, which do have a play feature for later. On the sides, we can see the wings, which are not rusted out this time, but they actually do look pretty good. They are pretty nice, and it does use this weird highlighter yellow for the top of the wing here, which is on the other one a tan color. As I said earlier, it uses the same technique for the outside of this, I guess, wing holder. It kind of protects the wing contraption there, and it is quite a bit well rounded there. Better than the other one, I'd say. On the back, it has these two stickers. On the side, it has this one, and on the other side, it has this one. And then the other side is mirror image of the first. This set can comfortably fit both Jango Fett and Boba Fett, but can only sit them in this one upward position. And when closed, it doesn't have too much of a gap. There is a bit of a gap, but it's not as bad as the other one. You do, however, get quite a gap in the back, which is not present on the other one. But that's basically it for both of these ships. Now it's time for which one is better. Now this is actually quite a hard one, because there's a lot of things that this one does right, and that this one does right, that both of them interchangeably don't do on the other model. But if you understood that, that's great. But there's some pretty cool stuff on this one. I like the color scheme of this one. That's one of the main things you'll notice. The color schemes are extremely different. So we're not going to be judging too much on that. We're just going to be mainly judging on the actual build stuff. But obviously color scheme is an important part. And if I were to choose between the two, it would be that one for color scheme. This one does have some pretty cool features. I think the guns on this one are much better. And I do think the shaping on this one is much better for this. Although they're both not terrible. The wings are pretty much the same. They're literally basically the same. I mean, they're almost completely the same build. One thing I do like about this one, it has less stickers, and it can hold the two figures, which is kind of nice. But what I like about this one is that it can hold the one figure, but in two positions. What I will say is that I quite like the new one on its shaping down here. It's much more rounded than this one, which is a lot more straight. And what you notice on the back of this one, it does have its thrusters on there. And it also has them on the new one. Although I kind of like the old one better because of its the color scheme. I think it looks much better with that thrusters. What the new one does have, however, well, English, is a thermal detonator port where you can actually drop out the thermal detonators through the bottom, which I didn't show, but I was trying to. And they can just be loaded through the bay, which I already showed you. And these are simple minifigure heads with some yellow translucent pieces. This does not appear on the old one, as the Gamorrean guard takes his place. We can also take a look at the set on the stand that it comes with, and as you can see on this one, it simply fits into that piece that actually holds the thermal, well, not the thermal detonators, but the seismic charges in there. And now on the old one, it simply just rests up against that simple piece. They're pretty much the same in angle of display. Maybe this one's slightly more of a 45-degree angle than this one, but I don't think either of them look bad. I don't know what I would say for which one is better. If I were to judge based on better build techniques, I'd probably pick the new one. Just because it does have some very better, way better shaping, I should say, than the old one, which is a bit more blocky. But yeah, let's get on to a final overview and see which set is actually better, at least that I would consider. And I think that this set wins in the figures and the build, but this set definitely wins in the cart. I think the cart's better. Also, most of the techniques in this set are better than the old one, and its techniques are just very cool. Therefore, I'd have to say that this set definitely is the winner here. We can also look at the box art, which I think both of them look pretty good. I think the back of the box definitely goes to this set. But the front of this box just looks so good with the ship in there. And that's why I think this one's better. But I wouldn't say it's too much better. I'd say they're actually quite close. For a 4-year difference, this one's actually very close to being better in many ways. But this one just beats it out by that very small margin. Anyway, I do hope you enjoyed. This is, of course, all my opinion, and you may like this one better. You may think this one is a pile of garbage. But either way, I do hope you enjoyed. That's my honest opinion on this. Anyway, I do hope you enjoyed. And I shall see you next time, where it won't be a comparison, but hopefully it's another interesting one. I shall see you then. Goodbye.